So, the U.S. national debt is on the verge of crossing the $36 trillion level for the first time in history. Contributing to this looming debt crisis is a skyrocketing deficit, which is fueled by both profligate government spending and a soaring interest cost, which is driven by greater inflation expectations. In fact, the deficit numbers from last month are truly shocking. We'll go into the latest report from the U.S. Treasury in today's video. But what are gold and silver doing against this backdrop? Well, they're languishing. They are in a corrective phase. But we need to take a look at the silver chart in today's video because what it tells us might really surprise you. So let's get to it. Did you know SD Bullion is giving away a monster box of 2024 Tree of Life silver coins? Sign up today at sdbullion.com/sweepstakes. Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. Quick channel update. I am launching a 100% free e-newsletter. So if you would like to receive breaking market updates and information about gold and silver, you can sign up with the link down in the description. And now let's get to today's video. So as you can see here from the US debtclock.org, the U.S. national debt is on the verge of crossing $36 trillion. In fact, it'll probably do it sometime today, maybe this evening. If we take a look at this tomorrow, very likely it's going to be over $36 trillion. And then, next up, $37 trillion. Because this thing is growing exponentially fast. To prove that, all we have to do is just take a look at the most recent monthly Treasury statement from the Treasury Department. And if we scroll down to this part, Figure 1, Receipts, Outlays, and Surplus Deficit for October of 2024, you can see that last month the U.S. deficit hit $257 billion just for that month. Now that is close to a record high for the month of October. The record high was hit back in 2020. In fact, we can take a look at this chart from Zero Hedge, which shows U.S. budget deficits for the month of October, and you can see that it was slightly higher in 2020. Of course, that was during the pandemic-fueled spending binge of that time period. And so the fact that now, absent any other crisis, we are approaching those deficit levels, this should really be eye-opening to anybody who is paying attention and to anybody who transacts in, saves in, is paid in the US dollar, because this is a very ominous sign for the currency. Now, yes, I know there's been a lot of speculation recently about the incumbent Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency to be headed by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm not going to speculate too much about how successful they will be in today's video. Suffice to say that I am skeptical, and I can certainly appreciate the irony of creating a government department to battle bureaucracy. But that being said, let's just go over and take a look at the chart of silver, because it's very interesting that both gold and silver have been in this very strong corrective phase, despite the fact that we are witnessing this explosive growth in the U.S. national debt. Now, what can we attribute this to? Well, certainly following the election of Donald Trump, we saw a rally in the DXY. That is not necessarily the absolute purchasing power of the dollar, but its performance relative to other fiat currencies. And I suspect that this is somewhat based on optimism surrounding the new administration's ability to get this debt crisis under control. And forgive me if I'm simply not that optimistic about it. I mean, if they manage it, then great, but we'll believe it when we see it, right? The debt is a mathematical problem, and at this point, I believe it is one that will not be solved. But more importantly, let's just take a look at what's going on with silver here. Now, you might remember a few weeks ago, silver was pushing the $35 level. It rose as high as $34.86. Now, around that time, I heard a lot of silver stackers lamenting the fact that they had not made more purchases at lower prices, that they wished they had stacked more. But my question for you is, if you are a silver stacker and you were lamenting the rise in silver back when it was up here around 35 bucks, are you stacking now? Because earlier today, the spot silver price dropped below $30. Now, it didn't stay there for very long. In fact, it's risen nicely. At the time I'm recording this video, it's around $30.50, but that was a very nice dip. And I just wonder how many stackers are actually taking advantage of the correction in gold and silver, because this is a thing about psychology, and I think it's specific to perhaps retail investors who often get stuck, buying at the top, holding the bag, and then possibly even selling at a loss on the dips, which is, of course, exactly the opposite of what one should do. That's my opinion anyway. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take any of this as advice. It's just my, thoughts and opinions on these markets. But if you're wondering if the bottom is in for silver, of course, nobody knows for sure. But based on what we're looking at here on the chart, I think that if we're not at the bottom, we are very close. You'll notice I've got this pattern here with all these colors overlaid over the spot price of silver here. And what this represents is just the bottom here from the recent low in the silver price around 26.50 to its recent top. And this is called a Fibonacci retracement. And what this means, seeing the different colors here, this line that the silver spot price just fell to and bounced right off of is a 61.8% retracement from the high that we recently hit. Now, this is an important psychological level. In fact, if we go back to silver's earlier run this year, when it ran from about 22 bucks up to about 32.50 or so, you can see that it pulled back very close to that 61.8% retracement level. Didn't quite get there, but that was where it pulled back to before it began the rally, which ended just a few weeks ago in October. The point of all of this for me is that I think that now that we have touched this important retracement level in the spot price of silver, we are now set up for the next rally, or at least that is the most likely scenario. Of course, nobody knows exactly what is coming next, but if you ask me, after touching this level, dipping briefly below $30, which is also a very important psychological level, now the most likely outcome for silver is that it is going to be headed higher, probably in short order. This purple line down here in the bottom half of the screen that you see, this is the relative strength index. You can see this dipped as low as around 31 at the lows of the previous corrective phase. And today it is around 39. Got as low as about 37 on this dip that we have seen over the past couple of weeks. Basically, the way this RSI works is when it goes over 70, that indicates that perhaps silver has gotten a little overbought. You can see it went over 70 at the peak of the most recent rally. And then if it dips below 30, that is indicative of an oversold condition. But there's no guarantee that you're going to cross 30 before the next rally begins. It did not go below 30 before the most recent rally. You can see it went down to about 31 again. So here we are showing that silver is becoming fairly oversold. The price just rallied off of a critical support level at $30 and the 61.8% retracement. And so I just hope that those out there who were looking for a buying opportunity haven't had their sentiment turn so negative that they fail to take advantage of this, because I think that, months down the road or years down the road, potentially when the silver price is much higher, they will look back at this dip and say, gosh, I wish I had bought into that. So let me know in the comments down below, did you buy the dip in silver, which I think there is still ample opportunity to do? Do you plan on buying into this dip in silver? And if you want to see more videos about gold and silver, just check out the one that is popping up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, happy stacking, Smart Silver Stacker out.